Alright, yeah, this is kind of like a recap on the last video too, after installing the IDE cable to a drive in your machine and on the motherboard. Alright, I forgot one little slight detail. Like I was explaining to you about primary and master, or master and slave rather, and primary and secondary. I take that back, but same thing, however you want to call it. But basically, on the back of some of your drives, like the CD-ROM unit, for example, I want to make sure that I have the cable inside the machine in the right order. Like I said, the top of the cable is the primary, or the master, and the middle of the cable, or the second connector, is the slave, or the secondary. Alright? So, on the back of the drive, they have this jumper pin here that is you move it to accordingly to where the cable is on the back of this unit. So what I mean by that is this is primary, or it's a secondary, or it's cable select. So you move it accordingly. This jumper comes right out like so. You can pull it out like this, and then you move it to, if you want this to be the master or at the top of the cable, which I want it to be, so I will put this in the master position so that when I plug it in, the computer recognizes this as the first drive, the primary drive on that cable line. Okay, so let's just move along while I install it. My machine's kind of easy with this stuff. So I even found a better cable that was a little bit longer, so I can put two drives on here at one time. So I want this to be my primary drive. I set up that one to be the primary. Alright, so this will be the secondary, so I'll take out the jumper here and I'll move it over one because this was set to be the primary, and then I'll shove it back in. Alright, now I have a different cable. A matter of fact, I just sized it up. That's right, I have to do a slight adjustment and move this unit down one section inside of the machine. Alright, so that it'll fit the cable correctly. Alright, so now we'll put the cable back. Being I don't have the power hooked up, it's going to be kind of easy. I could see the pins right away. Let's plug it right in. Alright, plug in the second one. All on the same cable, like I was saying. So that's the primary master and the secondary slave. Alright, so now we plug the power in to both units, because I do want to use them. So it's important to have power running to it, otherwise it's not going to come on. Very simple. Alright, so like I told you, I did all my cabling before, so it's all pretty much plumbed through the machine correctly the way I'd like it. Alright, so plug it on up, move on. Alright, so now we have our CD-ROMs hooked up. And let's move on to the hard drive while we're at it, get this tutorial done. Alright, I have, like I said, a SATA drive. These are the SATA ends for plugging up SATA drives off your power supply. Alright, remember when I showed you how nice my case was, and you can actually take out the segment of the case where the hard drives go in and put your own hard drive in? So I already did that. I changed it out already, put a Western Digital hard drive inside already, 250 gig. Alright, so we'll put the 250 gig in the bottom right here. Okay. Now, on the motherboard, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but on the motherboard itself, down around here, is where my SATA connects. Now I have 4 of these SATA connectors. It's important to know which one is 1, 2, 3, and 4 when you hook it up. You know, it's nice to keep everything in order. I pretty much know which one is the first one to hook up to the motherboard. So this is the cable right here, the thin cable that hooks up to the motherboard from your SATA drive to connect it to the motherboard and make it operational. Alright, so I know which one mine is for number 1, so I put it there for now. Okay, do all my little wiring prettiness later. Okay, so now we got the motherboard actually plugged in. You can plug in the power to it with one of these connectors, which is a slight bit different. This one here is flat instead of, you know, having big holes and round. It's just one flat slot. That's how you'll know this is the one that plugs into your hard drive. Okay, so plug that in. Like my man Larry the Cable Man would say, get her done. Alright, so we're close, very close. Alright, so now that drive is plugged in. Let's move along. I got a little crappy zip drive here. You know, I'm just going to throw it in there just for the heck of it. I found some cabling. Probably will use that sooner or later too. Okay. This is what I mean about a custom case. Like I said, the custom cases are great just for the fact of how easy it is to maneuver all your parts around like so. Okay, so we'll plug the power into it. This cord's just a slight bit short, so I'll use it somewhere else. I'll use that other power in for something else. But I like to keep them in kind of a nice order, so it looks neat when you put it together. But sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Alright, so we're looking good. We're looking good. Okay, so now we got our hard drive plugged in. We have our floppy drive plugged in, and that should be it for now. All right, and start another video.